we're going to ruin your Valentine's Day.
No, we're not.
I'm just kidding, Mary Kate. Hey, I'm Devin.
And I'm Mary Kate.
And we're picking up pieces.
A channel all about board game pieces.
And how to pick them up.
Happy Valentine's Day.
And in today's video, we're going to try to ruin it. So, what do we mean by that, Mary Kate?
So this season, you see all kinds of videos about best board games for couples, about board games for date night, even board games to play on Valentine's Day. These videos often focus on games that are made for couples or generally thematic games that fit along with the Valentine's Day theme. Well, we are going to throw that completely out the window and tell you about some games to avoid on Valentine's Day.
Because, you know, every board gamer knows the feeling whenever you're playing a board game and you start getting really contentious and you can't help but not just be mad at the board game, but mad at the person you're playing against. And you're feeling really much so like, why did you do that? Did you do that because I was best for you or just to F me over? It looks like you chose the latter. And so whenever we're doing that in the board game, ultimately there are games that I think more particularly heighten those feelings.
This often happens with a game where you have to plan out what you want to do. If you come up with a plan, you figured everything is laid out so that you can achieve it. And the only person standing in between you and your goals of winning this game is your opponent. And when that opponent is your significant other,
Hi.
That's not always great for date night. We're not trying to disparage these games. These are great games, fantastic games all around. They're just maybe not what you want to choose for date night.
Yeah. And so, I mean, what are you expecting anyway from these Valentine's Day videos? All these Valentine videos that we creators are pushing down your throats, including us. Like, a board game isn't going to set the mood for you romantically. But before we actually get into this, as a special bonus, I actually prepared some Valentine's Day's fun fact. Fun fact number 1. Did you know in Japan, and on Valentine's Day, men actually receive gifts instead of women? And in response to this, in 1978, Japan made a special holiday called White Day, where men have to reciprocate the gifts they were given from the women in their lives. So that's it. I don't know how to end it, but on to the list. That's it.
Our list, we have tiny towns,
which I do not understand at all. So this list is very subjective. So whenever we made these 5, we chose 5 games. Whenever we chose these 5 games, they're games to us. And games that make us aggravated. But tiny towns, not me. It's fine. It's a great little game. It's a cute game.
I love this game.
Where you're building up towns. You have like a bingo thing, and you're putting down your little pebbles.
All right, if you don't think bingo can be contentious, you've never seen people play bingo.
Yeah. So anyway, you're doing that, and you're building up your town by putting down color piece. So one person calls it, the other person also has to put it out that piece, and then you match those colors in order to build a building. And it's slowly constricting you because this space is getting used up.
Now, here's the thing with this game. You have different colored squares and everyone has to put down the same ones, and you're trying to build out these different buildings in order to get points. Well, I get myself into trouble here because I get too invested, and I plan out, okay, I want this building and this building and this building in order to get points in these particular ways. So I start trying to make the most efficient moves. And apparently that's what you can't do in this game, or do it at your own risk, because I'll plan out, I'm going to put these here and these here and these here so that all of a sudden I can get all these points. Well, then the problem comes along with the other players in the game.
Hi, how are you?
Also get to pick what cubes you put down.
Yeah.
And for some reason, every time we've played this, Devin just always wants the yellow ones.
And I honestly do not remember this. We haven't played this game in a while, but I'm going to assume yellow's really good. and
Okay.
I love it.
Okay,
So
I don't know, all right? And I never need them. I never need them. We always pick a different way to go for points, and it always screws me up. Because then I have this, like, already have all these pieces on the board, and now I have to find a place to put this other piece that I have no spot for. Well, then it ruins my plan here. And then it happens again, and it ruins my plan here. So then, not only can I not do the plan I originally envisioned to do, but now I can't accomplish anything because, there's just useless pieces all over my board.
Yeah, so we don't get that one to the table often because it gets really heated, but we do like Tiny Towns a good bit.
And we can play, you say that, I'm not that sort of a loser. We can play, I just can't play it a bunch of times in a row because the more times it happens in a row, the more and the more I get aggravated about it.
So anyway, that's Tiny Towns. The next game on our list is Watergate. So Watergate is based off the Watergate scandal. Scandal? Am I saying
Scandal.
That's the word. With the Nixon administration, where they try and hide information from the public, and then you have the press who's trying to disclose this information to the public. And so one side's Nixon and his side trying to keep this under wraps, while the other side is the press who's trying to get this out there. And so it's a tug-of-war game where you're constantly going back and forth, having to decide what you need and what you can give up, because you can't get everything you want. You have to ultimately give up something. And so this game is very much so very thinky and very tense, because you have to give up something. You're actively giving the player something else. But not only that, the sides are asymmetrical and have special or unique powers to each side. And so for me, I'm usually the Nixon administration. And I know I like playing down a card. And whenever I play down a card on the press side, they have 2 cards in the deck where you can, whenever I play down that card, they can completely stop me playing that card and get rid of it from the game.
Yep. Now he can't do what he wanted to do. And he can never do that again because his card's just gone.
And for me, I've like built up my whole turn probably around this one card, and as soon as I play it, nope, everything you thought was a lie. It's gone. You're never going to be able to do what you want to do because the other side is stopping you. But in saying that, the game is really well balanced.
Yeah.
So like, even though I feel that way, I know the press side can feel that way too about cards that I get to do. Because I can get people completely off the board that Kate might need from the press.
Or you can block my paths to get to them.
And gets to them. And so it's very well balanced. But even though it's well balanced, it's a great game. Those moments make me feel very much so in angst. I'm like, I do not like that. No, thank you, next. And so we love playing the game. We think it's really fun. But I know that I can get heated playing Watergate for sure. Yeah. So, but in saying that, how about another fun fact? So in the 19th century, the tradition of giving a box of chocolates on Valentine's Day started because Richard Cadbury saw the opportunity to give gifts on Valentine's Day and saw it as a marketing way in order for that to happen. And also around that same time, invention started taking place in the chocolate industry where he was able to make assorted chocolates in boxes. So it was a perfect marriage that led to him being able to sell more chocolates, which made him more money. So, and it affects us still to this day.
Man, marketing from the 1800s now changed the way we celebrate Valentine's Day. That's interesting.
Yeah. But anyway, back to the list. So our next game is
My City.
My City. Good thing you remembered because I forgot what the next one was.
So My City is a legacy game where you are working to build out a city using polyomino tiles on your board. And so it's set up into episodes where you get new rules and new pieces or new stickers to put on your board. And at the end of the whole legacy campaign, the person who wins is the person who's won the most points. Well, the winner of each individual episode gets 2 points. And well, here's the problem. Once you, being me, have lost a certain amount of the games, at the start of this 24 episode legacy game, you start to feel like it is all meaningless.
Yeah. And so the game does have a catch-up mechanisms in place in order for the player who's losing, because not only do I get points, but the other player also gets a benefit, and then I get a negative effect. But in our experience, we've played the whole game. We finished My City. In our experience, it wasn't that hopeful. Like, I was able to win and kept on winning. And it seemed like maybe towards the end, it started having an effect on me, making me lose. And so I think this is not just a problem inherent with my City. I think it's really hard to do that in a legacy game. Mm-hmm. And so it really, any legacy game. But for us, My City, we had many a nights leading to a little bit of, tear shed. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, they didn't need to know that about me.
so that's My City.
So this next game we're going to talk about is Summoner Wars.
Yeah, so Summoner Wars is a head-to-head battler where you have one summoning unit that has a gate, and they can summon your units from that gate, and the same vice versa. The other team does exactly the same thing, but you're battling each other in order to kill the other summoning unit, and whoever does that first wins the game. So this game is very thinky, very strategic, where you're having to plan out, like you're a general having to plan out the battlefield and see where things go and trying to direct that battlefield in your favor.
Yeah, so this game ends up leading itself to a lot of big swings, whereas on your turn, you get to summon units to your field, move them, and attack. So on your turn, you might bring in a few new units, move them, attack and kill your opponent's units, and you're like, yes, I am winning.
Yeah.
And then your opponent might just do the exact same thing and wipe out all the people you just brought in.
Yeah. And so those highs and those lows are pretty much repeated throughout the whole game, or can be repeated. We've had games where it's been like that, or it hasn't been like that. And me and Kate probably honestly just aren't that great at the game, but like we love the game, and so whenever that keeps happening, you get really high, go to really low, and I tell you what, that is not inducive for a romantic evening on Valentine's Day. So definitely do not recommend playing that on Valentine's Day, but we do love Summoner Wars, so we recommend playing it, just
maybe not on a date night.
Yep, not then. So our final game though is Food Chain Magnet, which is a game that me and May Kate both love.
Love Food Chain Magnet.
And so Food Chain Magnet is about different restaurants starting up in, I think, around the 50s, during the fast food era of a boom. And you're trying to outdo the other competitors and completely wipe away them from that little town that you guys are in by driving them bankrupt. And so this game is very head-to-head. Whatever you do, it completely affects the other players in that game.
And not only that, but it's strategic in that whatever you do in this turn, in like the first, second turn, sets you up for the whole rest of your game.
Yeah.
So if you did not think through the implications of your one placement of your restaurant, or of your one move, well, 10 turns from now, you might be like, I've ruined my whole game by that one move. And it's your fault because you didn't think it through. Which, honestly, is even more frustrating sometimes than when your opponent screws you up with their moves.
Yeah. And so this game definitely, it's not inducive for a date night. You know, it might do the opposite. It might actually lead to a divorce.
Okay, now you're being hyperbolic.
Maybe a little bit. But just a little bit. And so the game, I should also add about Food Chain Magnet.
It's a long game.
It's a very long game. It lasts for hours. But in saying that, me and May Kate, oftentimes we have the policy of, if we see there's a clear runaway leader, we cut the game short. Like, we always declare there's a winner. And I think that actually prolongs the game for us. Like, our enjoyment of the game. Yeah,
but there are a decent number of people who don't like Food Chain Magnet, and that's one of the kind of reasons they have. But I'd say, honestly, especially in a 2-player game, if you can tell, like, half an hour into the game that there's one person who just cannot catch up, just call the game. Yeah. It honestly, you still have enough time to start another game if you want to. You can kind of reflect on what strategic mistakes you've made. it's probably one of the reasons why this has remained our favorite game, because we're willing to say, we're not going to just carry on and drag this out miserably for the next 2 hours. We'll just call it and then decide to play again or play something else.
Yeah. We love Food Chain Magnet. And I mean, I feel very protective of it. So I'm talking about openly on the internet and kind of saying what's wrong with it. This is my baby. And I'm like, I don't know if it's my favorite game ever. Like, it's up there. I love the game a lot. But like, it's like one of those things where like, this is mine. I can say something about it, but you can't because this is my game. You know what I'm saying?
So we're telling you not to play it on date night.
Yeah.
But don't you come up in our comments saying how you hate this game.
Yeah. You better be saying, oh, I love this game. How could you say that, Devin? Okay. I'm just saying. I'm putting that out there.
Oh, gosh.
But before we end the video, let me get you the last fun fact. Do you guys know why X means kiss? You know, from the hugs and kisses, 0 and X's. Well, X there in the Middle Ages started standing for Christianity and was promptly used around the, I guess that known
the Western world?
Yeah, around that time. And so people, whenever they sign contracts, they started putting X's after their signature. And whenever they did that, they kissed the X to give it more of a power in binding that contract. And so saying it's sealed with a kiss also came from that. So a little bit of a dual fun fact for you. Where it's sealed from the kiss and then also an X meaning kiss means is because of that. So you're welcome. So, but anyway, guys, we just want to say we value all of you guys. And if we had the chance, we would play board games with every single one of you. Bye, guys.
Bye.